Oh, okay.
What is it? I forget. Is it a 1060?
It's a 1060 with the 8750H.
Oh, okay.
It's white.
It's pretty small, then, right?
Full fat or max Q?
Full.
Is that the one I
just
took the
got
photo
it
of?
set up.
There is no Max Q.
Yeah, that was
There is
a
no
pretty
Max
one.
Q. I mean, there's no Max P.
Huh?
Never mind.
Gordon just punched you today.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
Are we live?
Yep. It looks like we're live, and Vignesh is already here. Hello.
All right.
Hey.
Oddlanier Mueller is here. Hello.
You know, Adam.
You totally could get that job at high school graduation.
I really enjoy.
Hey, Aaron.
Chaos.
Yeah, it really does look like chaos.
Lana,
like really.
Yeah.
2
Eliana.
letters away from bad chaos. My parents messed up.
And
bad chaos.
Adam.
We got it. Here's a try this one. Prashant Saha. Caveman. That one's easy.
Yeah,
Ming. Heisenberg. That's always a good one. Fernando. They're all here.
Hey, so we're going to talk about. I think I'm making stuff up at the last minute, but I think this is where it's the best gaming CPU, the best gaming CPU.
You just made that up.
Well, we're going to talk about 900K. We're going to talk about the end of 10 nanometer.
Dun dun dun.
Oh, I forgot a drink.
Question mark.
Dang it.
Question mark. Is it a question mark?
We have Robin from
kind of a
Scotland.
question.
Hello.
Or is it exclamation mark?
I wonder what
and then
time
it's
it
a
is in
question mark.
Scotland.
Then Intel took it and
there you
clicked that around. Question mark? No.
Oh, you have the soundboard up
Oh
still?
yeah, I'm gonna keep that one up.
Did Andy make those? Oh, no.
I think you need to mark which ones are safe for work.
Yeah. Well,
Which ones are
that one always is.
Gordon After Dark.
I think those actually go all the way back to Jeremy. He still does tested, these days.
Yeah, he's still there. I've yet to meet him. Tejas is here. Sincere Dion Ari. Ready Player One. Yeah. Oh, Rusty's here.
Oh, wait, what episode is this?
73. 73. And then on, I don't know this name on Twitch, T1 Murick.
We got to be careful because what's going to happen is Steve he's going to Steamception us. Did you watch that, Brad?
No, I didn't.
Oh, it's awesome.
You didn't miss anything. You didn't miss
When I was taking
anything.
my long weekend, aside from reading the 9900K review, I was taking my weekend
out. Brad was like, I'm out.
Nice.
Are you ready?
Perfect. Are you ready?
Never ready, but what the hell?
All right.
Can
I'm ready.
people tell? I'm never ready. I just make it up.
I'm ready.
That's how you know we're good at this. We just wing all of these. And, we're still here after 73 episodes.
Oh, we're still live.
We're not asking for good quality here. We're just kind of like, is it
We're
go?
just here.
Hit the record button. Push the 2 big chunk.
Yep.
Anyway, nobody even knows what that is. Cassette deck with the.
Nope.
No.
Do it.
I do.
Damn, young people. In this episode of The Full Nerd, the best gaming CPU ever, and Intel kills 10 nanometer. It's exclamation, question mark. And then no.
Very unsure.
We're talking over the credits.
Bad.
Welcome to The Full Nerd, episode 73. I'm your host, Gordon Mong, with co-host Brad Charkis.
Hello.
And always by popular demand, more popular than us, Elena Yee.
Hi, everyone.
And Adam Patrick Murray controlling the vertical and horizontal.
I think I'm still hungover from Friday. Friday stream was
hungover
nuts.
Which way?
In a lot of ways. That was a brain bender.
That was a brain bender, I gotta say.
Ooh,
You're feeling that. I think it's amazing. I've never seen anything. We live streamed into Steve at Gamers Nexus. He had a live stream, and we had the WAN show on.
And then we paid
all talked
for
over
Steve's
it.
attention, basically.
Yeah, we paid for Steve's attention, and then he did it by turning the monitor so that he's watching us, watching him, watching us.
And he went on infinitely into the stream. I don't think I've ever seen that on YouTube, which I'm very proud of. I'm not proud of us probably having the volume up too loud on the other two, but I think it's awesome.
I'd like to. Brad wasn't there; he was on vacation. But I'd like to think that if Brad was there, he would have turned it off in 5 minutes. He's like, I'm good. See you guys later.
Probably you would just checked out. I'm out.
Yeah,
that was rough.
But you know what? I didn't tell you.
What didn't you tell me?
I I was with the committee last night, and we have decided to award as official.
Okay.
This is official stuff now. We're
We
talking
got official award.
Oscars. Not actually Oscars.
Probably
Do you
gonna
have
be
the right
blown out.
envelope?
I have the right envelope, and I'm going to actually award. People don't know the world's best gaming CPU to the Core i9 9900K.
Let's see if I can
As
get
you
a,
can see, it is an official
tilt it down.
Here,
tilted down.
do you want me to
Yeah,
get
there
it?
you go.
I'm
There
slightly
you go.
closer than you.
So that is wait.
No, I like it. I like
There we
it.
go. This
Yep.
is the official. As you can see, it is an official certificate signed off by the committee. There is no higher standards body.
Is there a gold star somewhere in here?
There is a
Yeah,
purple
wait a
star.
second. Is that a participation trophy?
No,
That says
it is,
participation.
it is actually, it says officially, it says Core i9 9900K is the best gaming CPU and Intel presented by Coach Gordon on this date, October 23rd, 2018 for the audio stream.
Mr. Roboto says it definitely looks legit.
It looks very
yeah.
legit. It's what I got out of Word. But the committee they just also decided for people who,
This is America,
understand.
so we have to do
Also-
this too.
the committee also decided the
Too
Ryzen
soon.
7 1700X is also,
1700X.
1700X.
oh, sorry, 2700X. Wait a minute,
It's like when you spell the kid's name wrong. Unfortunately,
the committee has met. There was an accident. We accidentally gave 2 Oscars out the same one. The Ryzen 7 2700X is the best gaming
Sharpie
CPU.
makes it so good.
By the way, it's right here, so you can see that it's official. It's got the star. That's real stuff, folks.
For audio listeners, Gordon corrected it with a blue Sharpie.
And also, by the way, the committee has also decided the Core i7 8700K is the best gaming CPU. Given this day, and also third per 1950X. Oh wait, that's wrong. Well, actually, no, that's right because of the price. Good price. A lot of cores. And also,
man. Is
finally,
everyone
there's
gonna
only 2 more. Don't play the music. Don't play. This is also the world's best gaming CPU. It's a Core i7 4770K. It's a classic. I know it, but
we're gonna play
official.
off.
Still going strong.
Oh wait, I got last one. Core i5
playing you off. We're playing you
2500K
off.
is
See you
the
later.
best gaming CPU.
Hey, Dan and I would totally back this one.
Oh yeah.
We're still rocking this
Yeah.
one.
I don't even know if his is a K part.
No,
I-
he and I both have case.
Oh okay.
I just want to bring that up because people don't really understand what it means to be the best gaming CPU. Do you guys agree, though, and gals, that the 9900K is the
Is there
best?
deeper meaning behind this joke that they're all good gaming CPUs?
No, that's pretty much it. They're all great gaming CPUs. Honestly, you can get your game on with a very good GPU, and any of these CPUs would play most of the games.
Well, E. Lopez is already asking if you've been drinking beer today.
No, we
so
should
far.
though. It's
No,
already
that's a
early.
lot of coffee
Yeah.
that you're seeing. That's a lot of coffee.
No, but I the whole thing is I there's just sort of like, oh, what about this? What about that? When it's like,
Yeah, sure.
come on,
Let's give
you
it
know,
all.
let's just like, are you going to hurt yourself because it's 10% less or 15% less? I mean, it's legitimately 20%, 2700X when you take a GPU out of it.
And Robin
Still 20%,
Robin
right?
on Facebook says the i7 7700K should have won. It's a fix. You fix
You're
the
right.
results.
I ran out of
Yeah.
paper.
Yeah.
But no, I just think that people, like Brad was saying, summing up, the CPU in the grand scheme of things isn't going to be the breaker on your gaming experience, right?
Not if you're buying one of those high-end CPUs. Like if you're spending $300 to $500 on a CPU, you're probably pairing it with a graphics card that can do 1440 or 4K.
Right.
So
it's not going to be the ultimate deal breaker, I think. But I'm going to say it. I do agree. I think Core i9 9900K is the fastest gaming CPU right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does that
I
make
think
it the
it's-
best?
Depends on your use case,
Yeah,
right?
Again, we got this committee has met the higher body standards, and we have issued certificate of appreciation and also best gaming CPU to
mean,
the.
The committee still
Where is
loves what
it?
is a
9900K,
8-year-old CPU.
Yeah, for some reason.
So yeah,
Well,
no.
it depends. Like if the interesting thing to me, I don't know if you've reviewed it yet, but I've read some other reviews, is the 9700K.
Yes.
Because that has 8 cores, no hyper-threading. And in the reviews I've seen, I believe it was an Intech and PC Gamer and Hardware Unboxed. They reviewed it. and it's just as fast as the 9900K in games for $100 to $150 left, depending when you're shopping.
Sure. Right.
So would that make that the best gaming CPU? And really, you only want the 9900K if you want all those extra threads for productivity?
I actually think so. Are we trying to define best, or are we trying to define fastest? Now,
Best.
Best. The best is it's the best is for your budget, right? It's best for what you do. Are you a 3D animator on the side? Then you know what? I'd rather have a 32 core or 16 core part, or the 28 core part, 18 core. I want those cores to be if I'm a 3D animator and I can play games on the side. All of those play games perfectly fine, right? And I think, if you have the budget and, I think those extra threads are going to help with, Premiere. There's some things, maybe some rendering. It might be worth it. It's definitely a big uptick in performance or in cost. But the other thing I do want to point out, I unfortunately did not have a 9700K, actually, fortunately, because that would have been like no sleep for 3 days.
Yeah.
I do think one thing you got to realize is a lot of people are testing MCE off. You test MCE auto or MCE on, and 9900K is going to be faster simply because it's going to be running 200 to 300 megahertz higher than a 9700K. So
you actually have some charts from that in your review where it shows like Shadow of the Tomb Raider running with it on auto and then full blown on, and like it's a huge difference with MCE.
Yeah,
right.
Nice bump.
Yeah.
And we did a video last week too, kind of like a live review discussion you can check out on YouTube. But there's people in the chat saying, hey, 9900K, it's too hot. It's running too hot, Gordon.
That's interesting because there were definitely some reviewers that got parts that were really running very hot, like 90C, I think, 90 plus C or something like that. I just never saw anything over 80C.
Well, I think it's because you cheated. You didn't use the stock cooler.
And the thing is, I just use a Corsair H80i. This is not, this is, two fans, but on both sides of push-pull configuration. It's just a small cooler. It's not huge. I ran a max fan, but I did not see the temperatures everybody else saw, so... I mean, it also depends. Like, you could probably push 90C if you're pushing AVX for 2 hours or something like that, I'm sure. But I don't.
And like you said, you did test with MCE on at certain points too, so you would have seen it if that was the different factor.
Yeah. So I don't see it, and I think at the same time there are other people. Let's make sure we have the narrative correct. There are people who saw very high temperatures. That is true. There are also people who saw very reasonable temperatures. Besides myself, other reviewers I didn't see anybody saying, oh my God, this thing is like nuclear all the time. But there are definitely some people who seem to have gotten some hot chips.
Timothy on YouTube's asking what motherboard you used. Linus used a underpowered board and got lower frequencies and heat.
Right. So I use a Maximus 11 Hero. So Z390 board. About a $330, $340 Z90 board.
That's their high-end board.
Is it? I thought they had one more above that. They usually have something above that.
It's damn near the high end. That at least.
Yeah,
That's one of your board first.
But I saw Z390s down at 129, so you're seeing a pretty good spread. And then this is the other thing is like should people be testing with MCE on or auto? And I raised that in the review as well. And you're not gonna see the highest clocks out of these on a $130 board. I bet. I don't know. So
I like testing with MCE off personally, because that gives you the true performance of just the CPU, and you can treat it as the baseline. Like, right. You might get better than this if you enable MCE, but not every board has MCE, even though a lot do. So
right,
yeah.
But I think the thing, to be fair though, and I gotta say, these boards, the ones that do, and I checked, there's a $130 gigabyte board, that $139 board with MCE. And I can bet you it comes on. Like they do not leave it off. The MCE is auto on all these boards, not actually enabled, but auto, which means it's more opportunistic than if there's enough power, if there's enough cooling, it cranks it up.
Clay says MCE should be off.
Yeah, we did.
I mean, for testing.
We do for testing because you have to have a baseline. You have to establish a baseline. So
I like the way you handled it. Actually, you tested it all with it off, but then you said, "Hey, here's what happens if you turn it on," and you showed that as well. I thought that was really good.
Yeah, and I thought it was very. I mean, I was really impressed that just simply MCE on means 5 gigahertz, all cores almost all the time, except when it gets a little too hot. Then it cranks down to 4.8, and then auto was 4.7.
It's really
And imagine
impressive,
if you
yeah.
had a bigger than 20 millimeter rad on that thing.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it would be interesting, right? To see if it could have pushed harder, if it had better cooling.
The part that impressed me was that you don't have to do anything. it
Yeah.
just does it for you.
Hell yeah, that's my kind of overclock.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, really, it was just like, yeah, that's the way to do it. It's like MCE on, just leave it. I mean, I never saw one single blue screen,
Yeah.
totally stable.
Yeah. It's
Yeah,
like
just
if you're
easy.
not in it for the joy of overclocking things yourself, you just throw a little money at the problem. It fixes it. It's great.
You know, and it's hard to say. Technically, people say that's overclocking, but you know what? This is the behavior of the board from the factory. And we do know for the most part, Intel doesn't really look, if you nuke your chip anyway, they were like, okay, we'll send you another one. They don't really get all torqued up like, well, did you have MCE on? Where's your voltage core?
What
I just
motherboard
put
did
it
you
in the
use?
motherboard and let it go.
Right. Although I've been told they can actually tell if they really wanted to, they could take a dead part and they could tell if what it was at when it blew up or something like that. I'm not really sure if that's true or not. I've heard that rumor, but I don't know anybody who ever has been denied a CPU.
So there's like a little
replacement.
black box in there.
Yeah, I wonder, right? There must be something. There may be some fusible link or something, or I don't know.
Yeah, but what kind of is it soldered? You know, is it soldered? Yeah.
For the you
The little black
deleted
box,
it.
yeah.
If you deleted it, you then super glued it back on.
So I'm worried what you think about the Core 9900K's place in the world. Like, do you think the 9700K might be a better gaming buy? Where's the Ryzen actually figure into all this? How's everything shake
Over
down?
2700X, I mean, again, I really can't say without testing it necessarily, but definitely seeing results from other places. You're still looking at 8 cores at a higher clock. You don't have the sort of that always drag that you get with Ryzen, whatever the reason is. There's always, and I'm testing it right now. I've got a 2080 Ti out there. I think if you put a 2080 Ti on Ryzen 7 2700X and you put on a 9700K, I'm going to guess the 9700K is going to be definitely faster most of the time. So,
What do you think about the 2700X versus the 9900K? Do you think the 2700X is enough for most people most of the time? It's $300 and something dollars.
Yeah, I think for
$250
with cooler.
less.
Yeah, I
Actually,
think
it was
if-
cheaper than that last week when we were talking about it.
was it? It was 300 with coolers when I checked before the
There was-
embargo lifted.
Oh, well, I think there was like a sale. So, I mean,
Yeah.
take it with a grain of salt. But it was like a sale at Micro Center for like $270.
Oh, Micro Center.
I'm just
Oh,
saying,
yeah.
it's possible to
beyond-
get it for
beyond
less.
The cost of my
Micro Center.
plane ticket sort of like neutralizes.
Southern California is not that far.
Oh yeah, sure. Let me just pay for
Newegg was
80
selling it for
gallons of
$2.90.
gas. What? Wait, what?
Newegg
what?
was selling it for $290.
290. So, but no, it's a hell of a deal. 2700. That's why, look, folks, Ryzen 7 2700X
So
is the
good
best gaming
that
CPU.
they had to write it in.
I'm holding up this certificate of appreciation for the Ryzen 7 2700X. Yeah, I mean, again, for $300, yeah. But no, you're saying, is it good enough? It's not good enough. It's actually great. It's a I don't like to use the terminology of good enough because it makes it seem like absolute minimum. It is a fantastic CPU for gaming. You're not going to miss anything. Are you going to have the same frame rates as you would with a 2080 Ti and a 9900K? I'm going to speculate no. I'm going to find out in a few minutes, but I'm going to guess no. I'm going to guess.
Find out in a few minutes.
What
Well,
I'm
after this
interested
is
in
done.
seeing is high refresh rate 1440p with the 9900X and a 1080 or 2080 Ti, because I think that might be a time where you actually see the difference in CPU,
Yeah.
even at 1440.
Yeah, that's what I'll be testing probably 1600p, but I'll turn VSync off and I'll just run a few games through and we'll see. I do think that you can't argue with a 4.7 all core, over core performance on the 9900K, and that's MCE Auto on the board we have, and 5 gigahertz, single threaded. It's just it's Ryzen tops out at 4.1, right? Maybe 4.2 if you're lucky. So you're looking at 800 megahertz difference sometimes.
So I'm thinking, I can't remember suddenly, but I'm thinking that depending on your monitor, like your setup, you actually might not even care about the extra frames you're going to get, though, with going with Intel versus AMD, right? Unless you have like super high refresh rate and you really need to eke out every single frame you can get. I think for a lot of people, it's not going to really make that much of a difference.
No, and that's the reason why, in fact, the Core i7 4770K is the best gaming CPU because it's all about the GPU for the most part in games. Yeah, you'll give up some frames.
But Gordon, for $500, somebody would rather just get a Threadripper.
Yeah, they would, and in fact, I think if I understand it right, the
Right here. I got it.
The Threadripper 1950X is the world's best gaming CPU. We have awarded an award for that because,
How much is it these days?
I don't know.
400? 500? I'm going to look.
But I would rather, I like the 2950X is definitely a faster CPU. So, but a lot of upgrade. It's a different, again, people don't get hung up in Ford versus Chevy. It's really what is going to work for you.
670.
I think a lot of people get hung up on Ford versus Chevy, just not in California.
Sorry,
Yeah, you're right. Okay, Honda versus
all right.
Toyota here
But
in
hold on,
California,
hold
probably.
on.
Prius versus Leaf.
Gordon, I know you didn't write it on the paper, and there's a lot of people saying, what about the 8086K? You didn't give that an award.
Ran out of paper.
I didn't give it.
He gave the 8700K an award. The 8086K is the 8700K with a little extra juice.
little extra. Those are the very best 8700Ks. Oh, wait a minute. The committee has actually come back and they've said.
For audio listeners, Gordon has busted out the official Sharpie.
So the
And
thing,
he's doing a write-in. So
Also,
the
the
8700K now has to share with the 8086.
The 8700K, and it's basically it's slightly better version, the 8086K.
and what you don't
also
know is
best
that Gordon
games.
carries that Sharpie everywhere.
Oh,
with
yeah.
him.
It's one of the
Yeah.
little keychain ones.
We have to because now, look, I can do this. It's in case, like, oh my God, I got to write my phone number on here. So when EMS comes and gets me,
You're like, ugh.
that's some dark stuff. But yeah, no, look, 8086K, great chip. I've got to say, I probably would not have paid the extra, although the cool factor of having an 8086K is the reason why I don't understand why people couldn't get that. The nostalgia factor is just awesome. So that is going to be worth it to some people. And it's slightly better clocks. So, but 9900K, again, is going to be faster. And, I got to say, Brad, I'm very impressed by Shadows of the Tomb Raider because.
Why?
Well, because it's DX12 that actually seems to do something. So
Yes.
that again, like so, MCE off, MCE on, MCE auto, they've got really definite bumps from that, and the only difference is higher clocks on all cores. Mm-hmm. It really feels like Shadows of the Tomb Raider is an actual multi-threaded game that can use more than 8 cores, right?
Yep.
So
And it's freaking gorgeous.
yeah. So I mean, that actually may mean like, yeah, you're gonna the 2500K, which is still the best gaming CPU, may not be on the best gaming CPU award list next year when the Academy meets,
Oh, no.
or the 4770K, right? Because 4 plus 8 threads may not be enough.
What am I
4
going to tell my system when I get home that it's voted out?
Well, I thought you had a 2500K.
Well, if the games actually get there.
That's what we're talking about.
If you're a gamer who is looking to upgrade from something like the 2500K, though, I think it's worth paying attention to the difference in performance at 1080p like you tested. Because, yeah, right now in today's games, where it's GPU limited at 1440 at 4K, there's no effective difference between the 2700X and the 9900K. But if you hold on to your system for the 7 years or whatever, like you do at 2500, that 20% difference that you see at 1080p, if you keep upgrading your graphics card, that's eventually going to be noticeable 5-6 years down the line.
No,
So
that's a fair point.
Yeah, if you plan on buying a CPU to hold on to a gaming system for a long time, I would suggest going for the Intel stuff for sure.
Yeah. No, definitely, the price, I guess it's sort of settled down to 530, 529 or something like that.
530.
It's 580. It's 580.
Well, right
It
now,
went up to 580 already?
It's a newly
It was
launched part.
530 just last Friday.
Oh man.
This morning, everywhere was 580.
Oh,
man.
Brad, I got to ask you a question. If I had pre-ordered a 9900K, I could have got it for 529.
Oh.
Now, 580 if you want it.
It's not worth it.
Still should have done it.
No, it's a new launch product. And actually, this is the one thing that's really going to hurt it. And I've been hearing a lot of rumbles. I have not verified this. I haven't had a chance to really go out and poke around a lot more. I heard you can't get the damn thing. People are like, this thing is nowhere. I've got orders out at 4 stores. I can't get them anywhere. Can't get the damn thing. So it's like it's one of the things like, oh, this is an awesome part. There's
you can
only
get it.
the only ones we made for reviewers. That will be a complete disaster. I don't think that's what's happening here, but it is definitely something that is not easy to find. 2080s are probably easier to find right now.
They've been talking about having supply issues with 14 nanometer to begin with. Intel's flat out said it. And I mean, these new 8-core chips are bigger than they've ever made on this process. So I wouldn't be surprised if you could find 9600K pretty okay. That's the Core i5, I think. But these 8-core chips will probably be, that's their primo stuff. And they're having supply issues to begin with.
Right.
Might be tight for the future.
But it's also high demand too, for the most part.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
and that's why people raise prices to lower demand. So I think it'll settle down in a quarter, to 529. And maybe even lower. Maybe it'll get eventually.
You still
get to
can't
5.
find 2080 Ti's either. All these new flagship faster than ever parts are just MIA.
Yeah, what is up with this? Is it just simply demand, or were they just faking everybody out?
Got people saying it's just a
Tariffs,
paper launch.
right?
Yeah. Well, I got the paper right here. So.
there you go.
Tariffs have affected some of the GPU stuff.
Tariffs affected it. I believe there is supply issues. I wouldn't be wouldn't be surprised if it's the same deal with the 9900K. Just again because of the size of it. That was weird.
What was that?
Jingle bell.
But yeah,
that was my
a mixture of supply
my
and-
Razer.
What?
Sorry, it was my Razer
Fidget spinner.
on my ring.
Oh, I thought it was a cowbell or something. We have Bessie running all the tests.
Although I guess that's a horse. Whoops.
Yeah, it is a real bummer because I do know before the launch I heard from an OEM was like these damn things are like you're not going to get these things for like weeks. So I think it was a launch. Actual availability is coming, ramping, but between the 2080 Ti and the 9900K, it's like
I'm actually excited in
it's like
some
into
ways for
November.
this because obviously I'm not waiting for an Intel part right now. I actually wonder if AMD will do what they did last year and during Black Friday just start slashing and burning prices again to get people to buy them instead while they're waiting for an
And I
Intel
mean,
part to
come on,
become available.
at half the price, we're almost talking half the price here.
No, it's
2700X
What's
gets that award.
That's what I mean, though. Like what Adam's saying is that if they slash and burn their prices like they did last year, you potentially could get a 2700X for like low 200s. Like, what would you choose at that point,
I
right?
would just buy one just to like put on the shelf. Like, yeah, I get another one.
It's your
Put it with
backup.
my 400 gig memory card that I'm seriously considering returning at this point.
Your window's closing. Better make a decision soon.
You're right. I better do it today. No, could they go that low? I mean,
Last year, I think
250.
Last year it went to so 1700 I think dropped to like 220 if I remember right, and then 1700X was like 250.
Yeah, but they feel like
I think.
1700X. There was some there's price buffering. I mean, this thing came in at 329 with the cooler.
I'm not saying that it's gonna happen. I'm just saying there's the potential, which I find
That is why the
Exciting.
Ryzen 7 2700X is the best CPU, best gaming CPU.
and he's got paper to show it.
The award certificate of
And again,
participation.
something Melissa touched on last week. Most people have 1080p 60 monitors, and in
Yep.
that case, these really are all the best gaming CPUs for sure.
Yeah, I gotta say, yeah, you've got to be maybe a pro gamer to buy 9900K on a 1080p, or maybe 1080p 240. Maybe that would make sense.
That would make
Yeah,
sense.
that would make sense. But yeah, I don't know. I can't see lower than 250. I could see
I
250.
want to look up the prices from last year now.
Look it up. There's no way. I just can't. That's just such a steal.
Last year, it couldn't have been that cheap because didn't it come out at $500?
1700X. We're talking about 1700X.
We're talking about the
The
1700.
1700 came out at $330.
Yeah. Let me check. I
Was
just
it
remember
330?
seeing something that was insane last
330,
year.
400, and 500. That was the 3 8-core chips last
I
year.
could be wrong. I just remember seeing it at some point for it being super cheap.
Well, she's looking at that. Do you think AMD there's going to be that rumored 2800X part? Anybody?
No.
Anyone that know?
Not this year. I would expect to see something like that, like CES.
So with the
When I
new
start talking about the new
process,
stuff.
that would be. The
I'm
good way to-
really,
Yeah.
really interested to see the new process stuff.
Yeah, I think Lisa Su and AMD are just gonna hopefully blow our socks off at CES this year. Just
Wouldn't
like
that be nice?
jaw dropping. Like it's entirely possible.
We
I
should.
gotta say.
I wonder. What day is that keynote she's doing?
I think Wednesday.
Like
I
the
was
Wednesday
right.
before or the Wednesday?
Wait, Elena's got it. We got to.
Sorry, I'm interrupting, but so okay, it's a Micro Center
Oh,
deal.
come on.
I'm just saying it actually hit that price. $230 for 1700X last year.
Let's see.
Dang.
Yeah. So if the other retailers were to kind of match it, I'm probably guessing like you would see it for 240, maybe 250
I
on
see what you're
Amazon.
saying. Yeah, okay, I could see that.
Yeah. Although last year Amazon did that, they went a little like $10 over Micro Center, and then I think the competition got so fierce that they just ended up dropping to exactly match it for like the Threadripper stuff. Remember that? That was
I get bummed
insane.
out by those Micro Center deals because there's not one within
I know.
like thousands of miles.
I know. One of our viewers left a comment on our video and said one of the reasons I like living in Ohio is because I have a Micro Center nearby, and I was like, "You do you, man."
I rented my apartment specifically next to the Micro
I
Center.
would
for
totally
that.
do that.
Well, I just
Close.
checked.
You would.
Look, the Micro Center in Tustin, California, which is a store I've been to, is a great store. It's only 439 miles away, Elena. Let's see.
We should do a live road trip.
for a gallon of gas.
So here's the thing. I'm a little lucky on this front because I have a lot of friends who live in Southern California, and then because we all see each other at the dance stuff that we do, I just have them buy stuff for me, and then they bring it to me when I see them next, and I just pay them for the cost. It's great.
Perfect.
She's smuggling CPUs, folks. Smuggling them.
Yeah, up to
My
Northern
friends
California.
are CPU mules.
Nice.
Yeah. So, okay. So, best gaming CPU is
All of them.
all of them. World's fastest gaming CPU.
So-
9900K.
Obviously, we tuned into Steve's overclocking thing last week, but have we seen how hard anyone else has been able to push it?
I think 5253. It seems like what most people have done.
Stable.
Steve was getting.
I've seen a lot of people getting stuck right around 5 though.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, it does seem like this is. I mean, I've said this for a long time. Intel has taken all the overclocking for themselves, and they have ever since Turbo came along, right? With the now they're like, well, let's just use almost all of it because it really feels
They're
like
going to solder it and everything. They're using every inch that they
they're
can.
using
in that
every
thing.
single inch. Yeah, 5. It seems like 5.1 is sort of practical, which is like not much that I got out of MC Auto. I mean, on. So I think, yeah, that's it. I mean, there ain't nothing left. It feels like. So
Moral of the story is make sure if your motherboard has MCE, turn it on.
yeah, but I guess that doesn't count the overclocking enthusiasts, the racers.
Yeah, I guess Bastel's saying DeBauer got up to 7.6.
Yeah.
But we're talking stable here.
Yeah, we're talking. So I for people who don't know, I sort of see overclocking in two ways. First one is the drag racers or drag strip racers. So they're quarter mile. They want to get it up to 7.5 or 8 gigahertz, run Cinebench, and then blue screen after that. Who cares? So it's very much like
Just saying that you could do it.
just saying you can do it, which is why they have quarter mile runs. There are, if you are into motorsports, they'll race a quarter mile and they'll blow the motor up to get to that quarter mile. It doesn't matter. So because that's the only thing that matters in the final race is to get the highest score and to win. And then you have practical overclockers, which is, can I take my 2500K and run it at 4.5 for the next 6 months without issue? And that's, I think, what people are excited about. So I don't think you're going to get that out of a 9900K. So
The drag
Look at-
racing or
the
You'll probably
practical,
find
the
out.
practical. Oh my god! I just got free. I got free performance. It's for the cheapskates. I bought the i5. I'm getting i7 clocks out of it all day for the rest of the, and that's what I think a lot of people really care about more.
yeah.
Sincere on YouTube says the best gaming CPU has always been the AMD 8350 Bulldozer. If we were talking about raw speed on sub-zero cooling at 8.7 gigahertz.
I don't think you could actually get the game to start. I did not actually make one for the old Bulldozer parts, but again,
Was that by committee decision?
No, that one's actually bad.
it is not great. But you know what? The thing about it is everybody gets a prize. And if that's the only thing you got, and it's just the choices between putting more money into a better GPU or putting into a new CPU, it's the best gaming CPU for you.
We'll print out a different certificate in a different color for it.
But I'm not going to make that one up. 'cause
Hey, best CPU name, Bulldozer. Yeah, I'll take that. I like it.
Yeah. Unfortunately, that was. We did not understand it meant actually the speed of a bulldozer, and I've said that before. It really was
That's
just
my
like,
favorite. Every time you say that.
boop, boop, boop.
Well, do we want to move on?
We should.
We should.
We
We should, because
We
I have to get out of
should.
here
Oh.
by a certain time.
We should.
That's me limiting everything.
So, did you guys hear, and gals, sorry, everybody, that Intel's killed off 10.
Whoops, sorry. Dang it.
What is
I
that?
hit the wrong button.
Welcome to the Full
happening
Nerd
in Adam's
episode
Corner today?
73.
I'm sorry.
Breaking news. According to Charlie Demergen, semi-accurate. Intel kills off 10-nanometer process. Semi-accurate has learned that Intel has pulled the plug on their struggling 10-nanometer process. Before you jump to conclusions, we think this is both the right thing to do and a good thing for the company. Oh, wait.
There you
Breaking
go.
news.
Yes.
Breaking news. This just in from Intel. F you. You're all wrong. We're still doing 10-nanometer. Which
Pretty good summary of it.
So who can we believe at this point?
So I did read the report from Charlie and the Intel News tweeting. Media reports published today that Intel's ending work on the 10-nanometer process are untrue. We are making a good progress on 10-nanometer. Yields are improving consistent with timeline we shared during our last earnings report, which I have no idea what that is. 2019?
The next one's 2 days from now, so we'll know for sure.
Oh.
You know, and that's the thing is we're in a quiet period too. We are in a quiet. So if the earnings reports are in a couple days, we're in a quiet period, which means
They can't say anything.
nobody says anything
Yeah.
during quiet periods. So
That's why
the
they're
fact-
called quiet periods.
Wait,
Yeah.
hold up.
It's like a library in here.
But the fact that they actually broke and said, no, hell no, that's wrong. We're going to do it. That shows you how important this is. Yeah.
It is. I think it's worth pointing out that Charlie, sometimes what he puts out doesn't wind up being true, but a lot of the time it does. And he was actually one of the first, reporters to report that Intel was having problems with 10-nanometer process years ago. And like we talked about on the show before, what is a 10-nanometer chip? What is a 14-nanometer chip? I mean, there's no exact definition these days. So they could be killing what they were planning on doing and making something else that's not quite as aggressive and still calling it 10-nanometer, which would make everybody kind of right in this situation.
Yeah.
Or Charlie could be wrong. But either way, it's super interesting.
Yeah. No, really. Yeah, I don't know. Because Charlie, I do like the fact that when Charlie broke away from his previous media outlet, he did create semi-accurate, which sort of implies like this one wasn't that accurate. The last one, this one is though. But this one's accurate. So
We'll
I
just
think
see
it's
what
pretty
sticks.
funny. I really because we were talking about it yesterday, and I was like, God, I can't really envision what would happen if Intel could not make these 10-nanometer parts. Right? I mean, like if they really did kill it. I mean, that's just like.
I mean,
Well, maybe, like I
think-
said, maybe they're
yeah.
killing what it was, and because they came out and said the reason that we're having all these issues is because we tried like these 6 different cutting edge things. We tried to make it way more dense than before while adding this and this and this. I think Brian Krzanich said like we're trying to like a 1.43 transistor, more dense as opposed to normally we do like some other much smaller number. I don't remember. So maybe they're just making it closer to that smaller number.
Yeah, so it'll be more like 11, I guess, by Intel standards or whatever they were in. Because 10, I think they always brag about how our 10 is like everybody else's going to be everybody
7.
else's 7 or 6 or something like that. So, but still, it's hard to believe that they've been working on this 10-nanometer part forever. I mean, this is the longest road ever.
I think Rusty said it was a 4. Say it was 4 like architectures or 3 architectures over the course of 3 architectures already.
Yeah, that's why we're at 14 plus. I don't know.
My favorite part is these new 9th gen chips like we were just talking about. What makes them 9th gen?
the extra plus.
The
award.
It's one more because it's 8 and then 9 is that's we.
I remember for a while they were saying the graphics core. I think you said that in your review.
Yeah, it was. They originally said like it's based on graphics core. I always sort of thought the first generation would have been Nehalem, sort of this new, It's when they first integrated the memory controller, but they actually considered it when Arendelle came along, Clarkdale, whatever it was, with the integrated graphics. And then that went all the way up to, we just changed it so it plays 10-bit video.
Yeah, KB Lake.
KB Lake is like, it's got better video. Now it's like, I swear to God, because nobody ever said with 8th gen. Nobody said like, why is it 8th gen? Everybody's like, yeah, okay, whatever. We just know it's one more, right? It's
a new number.
It's better than saying 2018, late 2018 MacBook.
Yeah, I do agree with that.
That is,
I don't know.
at least I can understand, like,
I mean, I'd much rather have that than MacBook 22. You know, I still think they should just call it the iPhone than the year.
but if it really were something they consider a generational change, or at least you would know.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
Speaking as someone who writes about it, that is a nightmare for us.
Yeah.
It's like, which iPhone are you
Yeah.
talking about?
I mean,
Which
just-
MacBook
I
are
think
you
it's
talking about?
anti-consumer.
Yeah.
Because then you don't know what you're buying if you're buying used or whatever.
Yep.
Yeah, I've never figured that out, right? Because Apple's
I mean, the numbers just seem so dumb, though. Like, are we really going to get up to iPhone 65, you know, like, and just keep calling it that with a straight face?
no. I think it's going to be like
No.
OS 10. They get to 10, they just quit.
It's
right
going to
there.
be like iPhone 10 kitty cat.
I'll
No.
take that. Nothing wrong with that.
Well, could Intel do the same thing and just say Core i7? It's Core i7.
Some lake you haven't heard of.
Yeah, you don't even know. It's just simply Core i7. You don't know which version it is. I think could never do that, right?
Intel's in a real interesting.
Oh,
Oh,
Sorry,
no,
losing freaking out.
Skype.
losing
Intel's in. Do you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, great. Sorry if I cut somebody off. I started to talk and to pause, and then things started freaking out. Intel's in a real interesting place right now because it does look like AMD is going to launch 7-nanometer parts in the first quarter probably of next year, going by history. Intel's been stuck on 10 nanometer for so long.
14.
And they've been stuck on 14. They've been stuck not upgrading to 10 nanometer for so long. They said when 10 nanometer does come out, they're looking at holiday of next year. So we're still over a year away from possibly seeing 10 nanometer. And this throws question into whether this report from Charlie throws into question whether it's going to be the full 10 nanometer process that they were hoping for even. So it's a real interesting spot for Intel to be in right now, I think.
Yeah, I think the word I wouldn't use the word interesting. It's going to really suck next year, it feels like.
For them or for us?
No, for Intel. I mean, it's just going to be bad news. If AMD really does get this 7-nanometer part, we can semantics over size or whatever, but it's going to be a really nice process bump for them. They can go cores, they can go clock, probably different microarchitecture, increase speed. It's going to be like next year is going to be all red, right? It feels like it could be a red year next year. If they're just Intel's just stuck. It's a great 900K is a great part, and you know,
Got an award.
You got an award, but up against 7-nanometer Ryzen, yeah, that's we don't know. Of course, we don't know. Don't pre-order yet.
Yep.
We don't know. But if you were to put a bet down, you would bet that next year is going to be a really good year for AMD. You would think, right? But what do they do? It's going to just suck.
We'll see.
It's going to be curious because even if Intel's 10 nanometer does come out in the holidays, you got to expect there would be the next Ryzen first quarter right after that. Like
Right.
Yep.
TSMC and AMD are hitting their schedule really good right now.
So here's an interesting thing. So if AMD gets 7-nanometer, they have a clear advantage, say in maybe core count, as well as maybe even clock speed. They may have a very good clock speed advantage from the new process. If they do that, do they still go under Intel in price? Everybody
Yes.
loves AMD because
yeah.
they give you to you all this performance for less cash.
I think it would be unwise for them to shift away from that perception of their brand.
Yeah.
I don't know though.
They've been saying they're going for mass market. They're trying to break into mass market and gain mind. That's what they've said publicly. So
Yeah.
I think making stuff higher priced does the opposite
Yeah.
of that.
Yeah.
But isn't that the time to make profit for your company? They answer to their shareholders. They don't really answer to their customers. They answer to their shareholders.
That's
ultimately.
true, but I feel like given AMD's history, their shareholders are okay with the long game.
Yeah,
Just saying.
that's true.
So I think their shareholders are going to be a little more patient with them trying to get more mind share, as Brad was saying.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So
I'm curious to see what the clock speeds wind up being for Intel 10 nanometer and AMD's 7 nanometer, because particularly for Intel, they've just like really honed 14 nanometer right now. Like we were saying, they squeezed every bit that they can out of it. I'm real curious to see if, 10 nanometer will hit 5 gigahertz.
Yeah, I know. You don't know. Who knows, right? There's just a lot of reasons why things go certain speeds and all kinds of stuff. But yeah, I don't know. It may not. I mean, it really could turn into a core count war too. Who knows? New market architecture. The whole instruction thing where like, hey, we got special instructions for this stuff. That's really tough to do for PC because so much legacy software.
Yep.
So they can't play that game for performance. It's like AVX2 and all that stuff. It's just has not really made much of a difference.
Yep.
I don't know. What else could they do? I just kind of want to see the damn thing. I mean, that's one thing, of course, is everybody's like, well, Charlie, he's admittedly semi-accurate, which means sometimes he's accurate, sometimes he's not accurate at all. And Intel's really has a credibility gap with 10 nanometer at this point. It's just like...
I do wonder, given how long it's been, for us waiting to see 10 nanometer, if it's going to end up a little bit like how AMD's launch of Vega parts was, because it's just like you have all this anticipation, right?
Yeah.
And if you don't get that payoff in exchange for that anticipation, it's just going to seem that much more disappointing, even though the performance is still, pretty solid.
Yeah, no, that's true because people go crazy. They go a little stir crazy waiting because
You wait too long, yeah.
It's not like anybody thought that about 2080 and RTX, right? They just accepted that was something new and different and better if it ever came along, and there was no anger over that. People totally accepted it.
Everyone on the internet was very calm, as they are.
Yeah, very calm and collected.
God, yeah, that would be the perfect thing, right? That just anger box 9900K and the 2080 Ti is the box I think everybody wants to build just to throw it in people's faces.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
We should do a live build soon.
Yeah, we should.
All right, so clearly I don't know who's right. I was gonna say, how do we make a bet on this? But how do we even bet? I don't. At this point, what's the point, right? That's just sort of like. I really do feel like it really does feel like 10 nanometers whenever whatever like stop it's like that $20 somebody owes you. It's been 2 years. I'm not going to call you and ask for I'm going to get my $20 back, just whatever.
I think what I was saying, I wouldn't be surprised. I don't think either way. I have no knowledge whatsoever of the inside process, but I wouldn't be surprised if what I was saying with them changing things somewhat to make it less of an upgrade, but still 10 nanometer in the vernacular, if that winds up happening.
It makes the most sense, honestly, to me, given everything that's been said so far.
Yeah.
Like, it's just a semantics thing, where someone could argue that, oh, you killed it, but then someone else could say, Intel could say in this case, that, oh, we didn't. So, everyone gets to be right.
We are making good progress on 10 nanometer.
Which they've been saying. Right.
I also feel like, as you were saying earlier, Gordon, that they're not in a position to actually say anything either until it actually happens.
No, they can at this point. Why bother, right? I mean,
they don't even have a CEO.
Yeah, that's
crazy.
a tough thing, right? That somebody's got to make that call, and I don't know. I mean, it's also possible.
Welcome to the big seat.
Yeah, the big seat is like that. Big chair is no fun. Isn't it possible though? I mean, if we're talking next the holidays.
That's a long time, man.
Yeah.
But I mean, they've been working on this. It just seems like it would be crazy to go all the way down this road. Like you can see the damn city like on the horizon. If you just keep walking a little more, you get there. But say, screw this. I'm just going to go to McDonald's.
Well,
We're going to have
I believe
filet-o-fish.
they've said in
Forget
the
it.
past that development of the more advanced nodes aren't necessarily, they're separate from this. They're not necessarily dependent on this, although I'm sure there's some interdependencies. So, I mean, if this is going on for so long, if they're seeing reasonable progress on 7 nanometer or whatever their next node is, I mean, why wouldn't you at some point just be like, well, that was, a waste of billions of dollars and years of our life. Might as well move on to this one that actually works.
I wondered that too, that if the other option was, they said, well, just kidding, that didn't work out, but here's 7 nanometer. Mic drop.
I don't think so though. It's just that would be interesting. I would I don't think Intel can keep secrets that well, and I think there's just way too much money tied up in Intel for them to do a bust out move like that. But that would be pretty awesome.
That
if
would
they could,
be
I
very
don't
interesting
think
to
that's,
see.
The other thing could be like, hey, you know what? We just went to TSMC. This is good. They got their 7 nanometer working. Here, sending over the PDF. Print that out. We'll send them over. It's no, that would never happen. The
No.
pride of Intel is the process. So the fabs. I can't ever imagine that happening. So, but who knows? We are in an uncharted world, right? It's just you never know what's going to happen.
Things are getting so small. Making this stuff is getting real tough.
Yeah. Okay, so no one's can take a bet. All right, we are.
No.
I think we're at like inconclusive.
Yeah.
We'll bet later.
So no one's no betting here. But I think we want to get onto the Q&A section. Adam has probably been saving a lot of them.
We got some questions already. So, yeah, if you want to get your questions in to Ask These Nerds, put it in the chat and at me, please. Or at
babies
PC
think.
World, so I can see them. We have something kind of on our last topic. Bastel on Twitch asked, how long will we have to wait for the next shrink? Let's say 5 nanometer, even if this might be close to the physical possibility structure size without quantum effects taking effect. How long for the next one?
I think we're getting so small you can't accurately predict that these days. Is my honest answer. I think we're pushing right up against. They need to start doing process and techniques that they've never done before, just to continue to make things smaller. And it won't be 2 years from now.
No.
Elena, anybody else want to guess?
No, I'm in the same
No
boat as
clue.
Brad, where I just feel like it's going to arrive when it arrives. And I think instead we're going to see more of this optimization on existing processes, which
I have a
admittedly
date.
are pretty impressive unto themselves, right?
Yeah.
Sorry,
Yeah,
you were
no.
saying something?
August 29th, 1997. I had to nobody's going to know
day-
that references. Oh, wait.
Yeah,
Adam?
the day not Independence Day.
Skynet.
Skynet goes self-aware.
I have detailed files.
Yeah.
No one knows at this point. I mean, who would want to even bet at this point? Like Intel.
We need something like Skynet. We need something like unprecedented to happen to continue pushing at this point, I think.
Really?
It'll just
You-
destroy
We're
What
just
do
it.
we
going to
think-
turn it over to AI to
Not
do it for us?
Skynet, not Skynet
Yeah, it'll
itself,
destroy
but
us.
EUV. EUV or whatever. They need to just something new.
I just thought you just advocated for Skynet.
Yeah.
I don't know. We need
I-
Skynet.
Brad's like, just kidding. Nobody heard that. My secret alliances should be secret.
Skynet president.
I didn't even watch the last few Terminators. I just kind of gave
I
up.
don't
sadly,
think it's
so.
Oh,
necessary.
it's so bad. I only watched the last one. It was so bad.
Genesis, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was it?
Was it bad in a good way or just bad?
No, I like Ready Player One. I'm like, that's a bad movie, but it entertained me on an airplane. Terminator Genesis is just bad. That was bad that I wasted my life watching it at the end of it.
Yeah. You don't even want to. You feel bad for watching it for free, right? Then it's a bad movie. It was free. Like they should pay you to watch it. I wouldn't hazard a bet. Again, this is Intel. They have been they have been the number one fab company in the world forever. They can't get to 10 nanometer very easily. So we're talking about 5. Who knows? I wouldn't hazard a bet. Except August 29th, 1997.
So far in the future.
Eastern
now.
time.
Perfect. All right. Another question. YouTube. Christopher asks, would a Noctua NHD15 be okay on a 9900K?
Let's see. I'm not.
That's the high end tower. That's the high end.
yeah.
Fast Noctua tower.
Yeah, you should be fine. I mean, Noctuas are pretty awesome. In fact, when I did testing for this subcontractor, I used Noctuas on all the Intel parts. Then I used a stock cooler. That joke never dies. That's just
For what it's worth, though, in your test, you used the Corsair H80i. You said the 120 millimeter.
Yeah.
Closed loop cooler. The Noctua is more effective than that, so I think you would no problem be able to use it.
Yeah, I have to look at it because these things are works of art. Okay. That is
Brown works of art.
I know people hate me because of my opinions on air coolers. I look at coolers like this and my hands hurt because I can see poking my hand trying to put the memory in or pulling memory out because you're always messing with stuff and then the fins They always poke your
It's not really your build until you bleed on it, Gordon.
Yeah.
It just hurts. These air coolers are always poking me. Yeah, that is a big, huge honking air cooler. You'll be fine.
All right. Phil over on YouTube was asking how come nobody ever benchmarks VR and what's the best CPU for VR?
I think. Where is it? I think I have one here. It is the Core i5 2500K is the best. No, but isn't it?
No, I don't get hitched and stuff, man.
Isn't I thought they was like, isn't that like certified to run Vive? Isn't that the bottom end?
I wouldn't do that one.
all right. Okay, 40. At this point for
2500K.
VR, it sounds like it's 4 plus HT or SMT, right?
Yeah.
So decent clock.
That's a good bet.
Yeah, and interestingly, for Vive, if you're looking at using old parts, pay close attention to USB support because USB 3 implementation on old systems can really mess with VR. So you really need fast USB. And actually, that's one thing I didn't test is the awesomeness new feature of the Z390 chipset, which is USB.
The USB ports?
USB 10 gig.
Yeah, 3.1, Gen 2, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
To speak to the other part of that question, though, I can't talk about CPU testing. I can talk about GPU testing. As far as why we don't benchmark VR anymore is because it's a question of resources. You get these things, you only have so much time to benchmark these things. And even though there was a lot of optimism around VR to begin with, just at least for us, our readers just aren't very interested on a wider scale. It's not worth the time to test VR, which is very tricky to test, versus running 5 more games that people play normally.
Yeah,
you mean legacy games?
Yeah. anything decent, I think, runs VR at this point, right? 1060 and a 4770K.
All right. Hema Ghoul is asking on YouTube, why are the i9 9900K not available anywhere, and when will it be available?
They only made enough for reviewers. I don't know. I really have no idea. Again, we sort of mentioned that earlier, but I'm hearing these things ain't nowhere. I heard that before the launch, though. Never really verified it, and I still have not. You got to do some poking around, but clearly nobody has these parts. I feel like they're probably not going to be available probably for another couple of weeks. Sort of like an early November kind of part.
They opened pre-orders for these early too, and a lot of people, never pre-order, but you could tell you're going to get the fastest 8-core CPU with these parts to begin with. So I think a lot of people who wanted that probably pre-ordered early.
Yeah, and a lot of people,
you didn't have. Were you able to pre-order Intel parts in the past? Like, did they ever do that? I think AMD started the trend. NVIDIA picked up on it, and I think it's Intel now doing it as well. That's my recollection of it.
Yeah, I don't even understand that because I think usually, I've done a lot of these chip review launches, and typically it's like the day the review runs, the day it's available. But now they're announcing before, and then reviews, actual performance reviews come a couple weeks later.
Yeah.
That's a little, that's happened over the,
to get pre-orders.
Sometimes things line up, sometimes they don't. So I don't think they care too much about the pre-orders. But I also think people got to also remember Intel does move a lot more hardware than AMD, as much as AMD fans don't want to believe that. Intel moves way more CPUs in them. So there probably was unexpected demand for the CPU. I know that every time Intel does a high-end part, they always say, yeah, we sell way more K parts than we ever expected. And they probably always sort of under forecast how many they're going to need. So it's going to be a hard part to get, it feels like, for a little while.
Yep.
Cool. Yanni, Johnny on YouTube.
Take your pick.
One of those. If Gordon had to choose at gunpoint between VIA, SIS, and ALI, which chipset would he go for?
Oh man! All right, let me see.
Remember, it's at
We're talking
gunpoint.
about ALI, SIS, and VIA.
Yeah.
I would honestly. Oh boy, that's a tough one. I'd probably go with. God, who was the most viable at the very end? VIA was probably the most VIA. I don't know why I always called it VIA or VIA, but they were the most viable because they were the first to push DDR. But then you know what? I got to say now. This
This
is
is a very
weird
patient
one.
gunman
Yeah, right.
I'm stalling.
Give
I'm
me
waiting.
the answer, Gordon.
waiting for the cops to come.
Give me the
That's
answer.
the way you do. You stall it out when you're like, I got to say SIS because. So I'm gonna. People don't know this, but at the very end, SIS. God, was it SIS or was it ALI? I'm trying to think.
I will shoot you, Gordon.
It might have been SIS. Okay, it was probably ALI. At the very end, there was a quad-channel Rambus chipset. They actually, so people don't know, there was.
I don't got time for this.
You got time. Let me tell you. Tell me more about your plan here to blow the world up. No, really. So at the very end, there was. It was one of the third-party vendors. It wasn't VIA. It was probably ALI. They had a quad-channel Rambus chipset that never really went anywhere. I mean, I think. Like engineering samples only. I was always trying to get one because this is a classic. This is a classic media story. I always like to bring this up because you had Rambus come along. Everybody was against Rambus, SDRAM, Rambus, and then of course you had DDR that came along, and everybody's like DDR. You know, this whole history. Everybody hated on Rambus. You know, I myself did it. Everybody in the media didn't like how Rambus kind of like pushed people around with the litigation stuff and all the lawyers. My joke at the time was I think Rambus actually has more lawyers than they do actual engineers. And it was just kind of like in the end, Intel, because there was really no AMD at that point, they switched from Rambus to DDR because clearly the DRAM industry was behind DDR. Rambus was going to lose. And I got to say, years later, everybody was wrong. And to be fair, because for the performance crowd, everybody hated Rambus. It cost more. It wasn't that much faster, but actually, in the end, it was actually much faster. And it took DDR, like they had to go single channel 333, and then they're 266, and 333, then 400. No, it'll be faster once we get to dual channel. And it took like forever for DDR to ever catch up with Rambus. I kind of feel like if they had kept up with Rambus, I'm just saying this. All right, the cops are outside the door, sucker! Ah, I did it! FBI, freeze, turkey! Good job, undercover agent Ung.
Did not think that answer would last so long.
Yeah, it's a good thing you entertained that hostage taker with your stories of Rambus and DRAM mystery wars.
All right, we literally have 5 minutes. I'm going to rapid fire some more, and this time, please don't stall.
What is it again? It's like
Ashen
gunpoint.
1 on YouTube is a 2700X with a 2080 Ti rig. All I need for Twitch streaming games, or will I need a second PC?
Oh, you'll be fine with that.
Okay. Rusty Shackelford, will Gordon consider the Athlon 200GE as the best gaming GPU?
Yes, it is. In fact, I could make one for you right now because it is the best gaming CPU for your needs.
Great. Alan,
They actually offered to send me one to review, but I didn't have the time.
Alan, with SSDs so cheap now, is it worth it to upgrade from a WD Raptor mainly used for games?
Oh, hell yes.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yes.
Oh yeah.
Pyro Monkey, have you done any testing with the Z370 board on the 9900K?
I have not. And actually, I am interested to see what I get out of MCE on the 370 board that I used. But that's, extra time.
RCF, do you see NVIDIA next year making cards much cheaper, trying to compensate for higher prices of this year?
No.
No.
Hell
NVIDIA's green. They broke that color for a reason. They like money. We like money. They like money. But that's...
Prices will probably come down a little bit once GTX 10 series sells out, though.
Yeah.
The Dom, is it hard to see Apple using AMD 7nm chips in their future desktops and MacBooks?
Yeah, it's pretty hard to see. I think Apple is going to pursue the ARM choice.
Oh, but you like you said though, if they do that, it's going to be the end of them.
I think it would be, frankly.
Well, we'll see. We'll see how loyal their sheep are.
We're not talking about the end of Apple. They've got like $85 trillion in cash. Apple will be here for the next 400 years. But as far as the Mac goes, I don't think the Mac crowd will be happy about going to ARM.
This is not a hill I'm going to die on. Nope. Stand out there with that prediction.
Welcome to the PC Mac crowd.
Yeah. All right. Dax Pax on Twitch. What would it take for you to shave your beard, Brad?
Death.
Well, I can't remember where I said this, but I did say that if YouTube, PC World's YouTube ever hits 1 million, I'll bick my head. I'll do it.
What does that mean?
Like shave it.
Bic, like the shavers.
Like a shaving.
Like the razors.
Yeah. I've never done it. I've always wanted to do it. And if I hit 1 million, sure, I'll do it. I'll try it.
Okay.
Will you actually do it?
Wait, how about Brad?
Razor? That sounds
If
painful.
we hit 1 million, Brad will shave the beard.
Yeah, Brad, will you do that
No,
with
you
me?
can't.
Come on,
I won't
man.
do it. I won't do
You
it for
can't
YouTube
volunteer
million.
that.
I don't own PC World videos.
Or what
PC
if-
World videos hits 1 million and wants to give me $100,000.
Okay, Brad,
man.
I'll make this. You can't lose. If we hit 1 million subscriptions in 2020, by 2020, no, 2019, end of 2019, if we hit 1 million,
No, we won't do that.
and Intel is shipping 10 nanometer in volume. That's just like, that ain't going to happen.
Yeah. Take that bet. All right.
I look like a 5-year-old child shaved. I haven't shaved in 20 years.
What do you think I'll look like, Brad? A 5-year-old child. Luis, who knows? On YouTube, do you think we'll see multi-chip Navi GPUs like Threadripper multi-chip CPUs?
They already said they're not going to do that because the way games work, it treats it as multi-GPU setup, and the industry is moving away from multi-GPU setups in general.
Okay. And last question, and we can get rolling after this. Sir Jake, 84, because 83 was already taken. Can you give AMD the best processor, the best processor names? Award them all if you know them. He's got the list here: Sharptooth, Blue, Thunderbird, Spitfire, Thoroughbred, Sledgehammer, Bulldozer, Piledriver, Steamroller, Excavator, Jaguar, Summit Ridge, Whitehaven.
The newer ones are worse. They're getting worse.
Yeah. I like Spitfire.
Yeah, Spitfire.
Excavator's pretty good,
there's a lot of
too.
people saying Threadripper is their favorite.
Yeah.
Ripper's good.
Threadripper was, that is the first time I think I've ever seen it feels like a code name become an actual product. Right?
I love the new AMD names, but it kind of feels like they're trying too much. Threadripper and Epic. It's like,
Well, those are product names. Those aren't even are they? I guess
Yeah.
they were. But I mean, they were, yeah. Are they? Man, but I like it. It's just, to me, it's pretty bold.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely. God, there was one that they used to name them after World War II fighters, and then they sort of had to change their rationale.
Oh, well, yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of people.
AMD does cool code names in general, though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
AMD's got the best. And I will say, let me entertain the hostage taker with my last old story.
Oh, God.
There was a point, no, I swear to God, there
I'm
was a
gonna get
point.
comfortable here.
AMD was so good at giving out code names. We were like, Damon over at AMD, he's like, hey, Gordon, we got the new CPU. Here's a blah, blah, blah. I'm like, what's the code name, Damon? It's like, can't tell you. I was like, what? It's like, yeah, I can't tell you what the code name is because the lawyers have said the code names are so popular, there's a possibility we could lose control of the trademark. I was like, seriously? Just call it this? Like, no, nobody's, like your code names you're like, AMD's known for the good code names. Give me the good code name.
Yeah.
But no, can't do it. Lawyer said no.
Why couldn't you just do it all? Is it too expensive?
What? No,
Can you just trademark everything in sight related to it?
because the code names often you can't trademark because it's something like super coolness factor.
Super coolness.
Oh, you can't get the trademark on that one. But no, it was really like what's a code name? It's like, can't tell you. Like, really? They really would not tell the media the code name to a certain point. And then I think they must have fired that lawyer eventually, and then they started using the code names again.
Meanwhile, Apple ran out of lions.
Did they?
No more kitties.
Yeah, they had all the big cats.
Oh, okay.
They
They
ran
could
out.
use dinosaurs or something.
Yeah, that'd be fun rather than mountains.
Yeah.
At this point.
T-Rex.
Yeah. Katie over on Twitch really likes what Intel does. Sandy Bridge, Coffee Lake.
Yeah, I mean, they're good. I just always get confused.
Devil's Canyon.
They're
Devil's
pretty
Canyon
good.
is
Devil's
good.
Canyon was a good one. I think my issue is I'm really confusing all the lakes. Amber
Yes.
Lake, Coffee
Yeah.
Lake, Ice
Cannon
Lake.
Lake. It gets hard to keep them straight because there are so many lakes.
Yeah.
At
a lot
one
of
point,
lakes.
I proposed to Intel that they use more urban city names: Oakland, Compton.
Fruitvale. We'll just go with
But
like
nobody-
district.
Jingletown.
Nobody would
District.
want
No,
that.
no one
neighborhood.
Yeah.
knows. It would be. Yeah, it would be.
That'd be
just like-
awesome.
yeah, it would be awesome.
Yeah, hell yeah. I'm down.
What's that? What's that? What's that in New Jersey? What
Okay.
is their scruffy town
All right,
name?
all right. The snipers are literally right outside
Newark.
Gordon. We got to go.
No, we better
We got to go. We got to go.
We really have to go. So check back next week for your fix of PC Talk on the Full Nerd. For audio listeners, subscribe to us on iTunes, Google Play, and Stitcher. And also, please leave review. Every time you do, Adam will get a name wrong.
Yep.
He will pronounce it incorrect. Principal Adam will pronounce it incorrect.
I just did it.
At the graduation, send questions and comments to the Full Nerd at PCWorld.com. Thanks for coming. I'm Gordon Young with Brad Charkis,
Adios.
Elena Yee,
Bye, everyone.
Adam Patrick Murray's hitting the switch.
Hades Canyon.
That was a good one.
All right, cool.